Like I just said, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. Suddenly it's just there. Which, that little 4323 has a connection to the show we're doing today, which I am going to now allow you to take away because Haley has come up with an idea and we're going to run with it. So tell us what we're going to do. Human Design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, Human Design Specialist.
And I'm Haley, the Human Design newbie. Listen in as we explore how leaning into your authentic self is your ultimate path to success. Welcome to the Human Design Hive podcast. Let's get into it.
Hello, Haley. How you doing?
Hello.
I know, it sounded so incredibly perky.
I know, you said my name weird.
I did. It kind of got stuck.
There was like extra
hello.
syllable. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it was weird. It's good to see you again. I was just commenting before we got on to record that I think for once we look like mother and daughter on screen.
I know.
I mean, people will always tell me that, you're like, oh my gosh, she looks so much like you. And I'm always like, you don't know her father. Because really she looks a lot like my mom. Now I think about it, I was just going to say something really could be taken the wrong way. I was going to say, you look like my husband and my sister. That could be taken the wrong way.
Yes,
Suddenly,
yes.
Almost like light bulb went off over your head.
Like, okay.
It's funny. Anyways, so yes, you do. The pictures of your dad when he was younger look a lot like you, and then the pictures of your brother when he was little look a lot like me. Yeah, we did. You're thinking about it, aren't you? You did it. One time when Ian was not that long ago, it was several years ago.
He was in like high school. He was probably in high school.
I found this picture of me when I was about 3 and maybe 4, I don't know. And my mom had cut all my hair off so it was short like a boy's, because that was the thing you did in the mid 70s. They're like, oh my gosh, it was suddenly, really trendy for girls to have short hair. And this is a picture of me, and I was in a dress, I think.
Yeah.
And it looked so much like your brother. And I showed it to Ian. I was like, Ian, why were you wearing a dress in this picture? And he looks at me, he's like, I don't know. And I was like, no. And he's like, no. I said, no, it's me. And he just looked at me like, not funny.
He's like, ugh.
I crack myself up. I do.
Oh, but I agree with you. It was very funny, even if he didn't find it funny.
Yeah. It is so strange how often, well, I guess it's not so strange, because if you think about genetically, and the whole purpose is for your genes to survive, right? Mm-hmm. And your offspring, I should say, the male's genes to flourish, that how often daughters look like their fathers. And, so he would protect her, right? Because there's no denying that she's his daughter if she looks like him. And then, mothers and sons looking the same, kind of along that same line of, continuing on the name and making sure the mother's protected. Maybe, I don't know. It's really weird to think about it, but it's probably maybe one of our listeners out there is a geneticist, and
they might be screaming at us right now.
I was gonna say she's pulling out her hair right about now, like, God, stick to what you know. But it was funny because I was talking to, I'm sorry, I keep pushing my glasses up because suddenly I just started getting really hot. Sweaty, my glasses are sliding down my face. Maybe I'll just take them off for a minute. So I'm not doing anything. What was it?
You were just talking.
I think Lakeland was talking to me about something was going on with her suite mates in college, and always. What was it? It was something about. I know what it was. It wasn't suite mates. Let me reframe that. I was talking to Lakeland, and it was about homework and classwork that she had, and how there's this one. She was worried about getting the reading done because, of course, those codes, the book codes,
Access
what do they
codes.
call them? Access codes. Of course, one wasn't working, and blah blah blah.
Of course.
Which, if you don't have a kid in college, you don't know this or had one recently. Books are almost a thing of the past. They now pay for access codes, which are just gives them like digital access to source material, but
Yeah.
something like that, right? So, anyways, she's just worried about this class, and then making sure she had the reading done and getting it done, because then she was going to have to talk about it in class the next day. Like they do a lot, you're in college now, so you do like discussions. Everybody shares their ideas or whatever. And she is, she's a generator, and she has the 4323 like I do. We have a similar configuration to find head and ajna through the 4323 with an open head. And I was like, just trust that you're going to know what to say when you need to say it, and that she could really relate. I could relate to her of how she feels weird when she's talking sometimes, because she feels like she's not making sense, and she feels like it all just comes out gibberish. And it was funny because you and I had been talking about this recently.
Yep.
And I said, I totally get that. And to us, I think it does sound that way, but I'm learning that people are following along, and eventually we get there. It might take us a little time because as the information is like formulating in our heads, or ajna, it just starts to piece together, and we don't really know before I don't really know sometimes before I talk what's going to come out.
Yeah.
So I was just encouraging her to, one, make sure she's been called on, and I said, and if you're in a group setting and you guys are sitting there and the teacher says, let's discuss, that's your invitation to discuss. You've been asked for your opinion. I said, but yeah, if you do just try to like blurt it out or, state it out, they might not follow along. And I said, and there still might be those people that won't follow along. But, there's going to be the people that need to hear what you say, the way you say it. So I don't know why I started talking about that.
I don't know, but it fits.
Like I just said, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. Suddenly it's just there. Which, that little 4323 has a connection to the show we're doing today, which I am going to now allow you to take away, because Haley has come up with an idea and we're going to run with it. So tell us what we're going to do today, Haley.
So I thought it would be fun for all of us. It's basically, in a way, for you, a blind reading, because I have just given you John Doe and his birth details, and you have the chart, and you've kind of analyzed it a little bit, but you're going to piece together, based on the chart, kind of the life purpose of this person. And of course, I know who it is. I picked the person. And so we're going to kind of see how it goes and see if I can provide you the information when you need it, and see if we can make it all fit. I think it's going to be fun.
You're having fun because you're on the one side. So it's a little challenging. I mean, usually, because I just did a reading with someone yesterday, and it's definitely a lot more fun when you have the person right there in front of you, or who they are. You can know more details. It does help you kind of see them in the chart, or even if it's someone I don't know, but it's a client, I can ask them questions as I go, and they help provide that in there to better help them get more out of it, I should say. Not to prove my awesomeness, because I don't take credit for that. So I'm a little nervous to not know who this person is, but then I'm also up for the challenge, because I know you would never set me up to fail.
No, never.
No, you're my love. We are both like, somebody's gonna be like, somebody just pull their hair back.
My hair has been bothering me this afternoon, but I didn't want to pull it back.
I didn't either, because it's like, I feel like I don't like it sometimes I pull it back, but yeah, whatever.
I keep doing this when I'm at work. Yesterday I just got so sick of it and I just threw it up. But
yeah. Well, I'm trying to be in that camp of like, you've got longer hair, let's let it down sometime. Let's not always pull it up. So, but it annoys me after a while. So anyways,
Yeah.
yes, that's exciting stuff to talk about. So let's get started. And again, this is the podcast for listening. But if you do get curious as we're talking, because Haley has the chart on her end that she's looking at with the name of the person, and I have the chart on my end looking at it. So we're going to be discussing elements in the chart. And if you're curious and you want to follow along and see the chart of this person as we go along, you can head over to YouTube and check it out, because it will be over there. Once we release this one, it will be over there. So, and if you want to let us know if you like that idea of seeing things more visually, just let us know and we'll do more of it. So anyways, okay. So let's dig into this.
Yes.
Okay, so this person that Haley has given me, she has told me it's a John Doe. It's a male. It's a man. Yep. It's a man, not just a male. And he was born on May 5th, 1983 in wait, I got to put my glasses on.
I think it's Helier.
Helier?
Helier,
in the
maybe?
UK.
Helier?
Helier. Helier. In the United Kingdom at 2:40 a.m. Are we looking at the same chart? Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
I can confirm.
I can confirm that much.
So this person is 40 years old and is a self-projected projector.
What does that mean?
Surprise you?
Yes.
It did? Okay.
Yes, both this person was a projector, and I don't know what the self-projected projector part, like
self-projected projector means they don't have any, well, obviously they're not going to have a sacral motor because they're a projector, but it also means they do not have any other motors, because like if they were emotionally defined, they would be an emotional projector. If they had the spleen defined, they'd be splenic, right? And if they had the will center defined, like maybe to the spleen, they are still kind of considered splenic, but it's a will center authority. So self-projected means that their definition usually
no motors
means there's a G center, right?
Okay.
Because then the mental projector would be there's no definition below the throat, but a self-projected projector means that their definition comes right through they have defined G center.
Okay.
So that's what that means. But it also means that as a projector, all projectors, no matter what their authority, they're always going to be people that need to kind of talk things out anyhow. Projectors in general have to talk things out. Self-projected projectors and mental projectors definitely need to kind of talk it out a little bit more.
Okay.
This person is a 1-3 profile. And their definition is the ajna, the throat center, and the G center. So they are all connected, single definition person, meaning all their energy centers that are defined are connected.
Okay, makes sense.
So the first thing, I guess I'll tell you, they are in the right angle cross of the Sphinx, and so those gates are on the personalities. What?
Isn't that one we just did in our Incarnation Cross of the Week?
I could not tell you. I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like
it could be, but there's 4 different.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So this person being born in May is in the second quarter of the Human Design year. So right angle cross the Sphinx 2.
Okay.
And so those gates consist of, on the personality side, gate 2 is in the sun, and gate 1 is in the earth, and then on the unconscious side, the gate 13 is the sun, and gate 7 is the earth. So the first thing I see when I see this, when I looked at this chart, the first thing I saw, well, of course, you see the openness, right? But then I was immediately drawn to the connection, which creates the definition there of having the 43-23 connected and the 1-8, and then they also have the gate 2, obviously, because that's their sun gate. But they don't have the other end, which is gate 14, that would then make them a generator. But
Right.
so when I see something like that, I would be led to believe, especially having a 2 and a 1 in the sun and earth, that this is a creative individual in some way. Like they have to have some sort of creative expression that needs to come out.
Very much true.
Yeah. And well, because the 2 and the 1, those two gates are about the 1 is about self-expression of the, it's called the creative. So that's a giveaway.
Yeah.
And that's really the voice of the individual, and it is this like creative in the sense that we're all creative, but it's also very much about being authentically yourself. Like you have to be yourself. And so with this being in the earth placement, it's very important for this person's creative expression, their self-expression, their authenticity to feel comfortable in that in order for them to then bring through that 2 energy, which is the direction of the self, which gives the self direction to go. So it's also called the receptive, and it's the gate of allowing. And there's a lot of in that gate about trusting that the self knows which way to go. It's like that G center is guiding you where to go, right? And so when it's connected to the other end, the 14-2, that's like they say that the 14 is the gas, gives the gas, is that the gas pedal? Because it's energy. And the 2 is like the key. It gives it the place to go, to focus all that sacral energy. So knowing that this person is a projector and they don't have that 14 energy consistently, I would say that that's probably one of the motivations that they have a lot, is trying to find the people, the resources, the energy to kind of, where do I, I've got the direction where to go. I don't have the juice, I need the juice, and always feeling that need to have somebody else help them in a way, not help them, but gather resources. So, okay. So, yes, what? Were you going to say something? Okay.
No.
So, but I would also say that this person, I think it's really cool to see when there's definition there, when it creates a single definition of all of them linking up, that it goes straight through the middle, through that individual channel, that this is somebody that does have a lot of individual circuitry within them. And so they probably are seen at, and let's see, the 2, the 1, the 8, the 2, the 1, the 8, the 23 are all conscious definition. They're on the personality side. So they're probably very aware of this need to contribute their voice, their authenticity, and whatnot. So
Yeah. I think that seems pretty accurate with this person.
yeah, and I thought I would actually, usually in a life purpose reading, start with the Incarnation cross, because we are starting with those gates. And I could save it till the end, since we, usually do the Incarnation cross. We may have already done it. Could be different. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember.
I don't know.
Could be just part of it.
Well, because I say that because I remember talking about the Sphinx with you recently.
I don't know. I didn't even look it up real quick. Yeah, okay. So this one, the one that we did do, it is the design side, or the unconscious side is the same. The 13 is in the sun. 7's in the earth. But on the other side of it, on the conscious side, the 1 is in the sun, the 2 is in the earth. So it will express a little bit differently, the motive. Because, the earth is what grounds you, they say. And so it's what you really need to feel secure in and have established. It's what you need in order to help the sun energy express itself. So in this case, this person, in order to have that more allowing energy of the gate 2, the receptive, trusting in source, knowing they're supported, they would need to make sure that they are being authentically themselves. And then on the other side, the 13 is the gate of the listener, also known as the narrative. And so the Sphinx gates, the Incarnation Cross, I have it, they're all in the G center. And so it's always going to be about self and direction. So it is a combination of those same 4 gates, just in different placements depending on the time of the year you're born. And so they're going to have a lot of these same themes, of collaboration, because that's gate 7, of narrative, what you tell yourself, the story. Also, people tell you their stories. You're a leader, so you're just this very authentic self-expression, someone who helps guide others in their direction by sharing stories and their own stories and collaboration. And there's a lot of those themes there with this person.
Yeah. You're doing good so far.
I'm waiting for little nuggets. So let's see. So that being said, also as a projector, we also know projectors are very good at guiding and helping people and seeing what it is they need. And so they probably have even more of this theme of being this example of, because they're also a 1-3, so they're going to go deep, they're going to try it out, they're going to let others know what they've learned, which is also, part of that cross energy of, taking your experiences, your story, what it is and how it can benefit others through helping them shape their own stories and narratives and how they see the world, and how that the world is full of possibilities, So anyways, so we've got natural leadership energy as someone who's very authentic, and then also a projector. So people probably look to them for some kind of direction or insight.
Yeah.
I mean, because this is somebody that is obviously we should say this isn't anybody we know.
No, this is a famous person.
Famous person, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not like we know everything that happens in this person's life. That's
No.
what I said. It's like a little challenging to not actually be able to speak with them, but what we know about them publicly, at least.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's see, where do I go? Okay, so when we did the life purpose reading, we look at certain things in the chart. And another thing that we look at, because you can see that they have these energies. Well, what is going to be some of their learning experiences? What is kind of their soul curriculum here on Earth, right? Because that's what we're all here. We're here to learn something.
Right.
And when you look at it, you start to. So what I do is I take all the pieces, kind of plug them into the to the different, seeing where the Chiron and where the Saturn is, North Node, South Node, all that stuff. It starts to tell a story, and you always start to see sort of themes here, I think, in someone's chart. So, like I said, just off the bat, I would say this is a creative person, a sensitive, creative person, very sensitive, creative person. Okay, so their Chiron placements, in conscious Chiron. Oh, I don't have it on my chart. Did you have it on your chart?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It's not on my chart.
Okay, so the Chiron on the conscious side is in gate 8, and on the unconscious side is in gate 23. So Chiron, if we will remember, it's not going to show up on the chart. You're not going to see it. If you run a chart on my website or no, I don't think it's on Genetic Matrix. Some people include it, but like I said, it's not going to show definition in the chart, but it is going to be very important to your kind of life purpose themes here, because it is this spiritual challenge, spiritual purpose. It's something that you are always learning about in your lifetime. And every time you reach a new cycle of growth or are progressing forward, it's something that always kind of comes up, and it's like, hey, you need to pay attention to this. It becomes a big theme around your 50 years of age, because that's when Chiron actually comes back into the position it was when you were born.
Okay.
And so this person's got a little time for that. They got several years. But they are, if they're 40 years old, they are coming up into their Uranus opposition, which I'll talk about that when we get to the North Node, South Node thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this person's Chiron is in gate 8, and that is gate of contribution. And these are usually, and this is also defined, this is in a full channel in this person's chart as well. So it's interesting that it's also their Mercury, which is, kind of their message, what they're here to help people also learn about. And it's also the thing they're going to be learning about their whole life. And they say that, your Mercury gates are your message. Mercury is the messenger. We've talked about that in the planets one.
Yep.
So people with the gate 8 defined are driven and have the energy to contribute, make a difference through contributing their energy. You see in the chart, it's connected to the gate 1, that self-expression gate. And so it is knowing how to contribute. If you have the whole channel, it's usually your own contribution. A lot of times it's because it's giving voice to the self, because it's that gate 1, and gate 8's in the throat. So it's the voice of the self. And so the challenge that's usually associated with it is to learn to express yourself authentically. Like, you can't be hiding, you can't be, pretending. In Gene Key's, the shadow there is the shadow of mediocrity, of like just being like everybody else, not, being afraid to push the boundaries kind of thing, and of what it means to be authentically yourself. And so this is going to be something that this person is going to, every time they maybe have a new project, reach a new stage in life, maybe, different time frames in life, or just all the time, have this somewhat fear almost that to be really themselves is a challenge, but they're called to share that. That's a big part of their curriculum, is to be comfortable with that. And then if you pair that with the unconscious gate 23 as also a Chiron gate, and 23 is also expression. It's connected up above it there in the throat, 23, 43. Yep. Another channel that it's a part of. I mean, it's pretty interesting that the Chiron is in gates that are also defined in this chart. And so, and it's also conscious gates for them. So they're more aware of these energies. They feel them, I would think. And so that gate 23 is also about expressing what you know. It's connected to the 43. It's knowingness, making it simple for people to understand, because the whole channel is there structuring. So I would say, when you look at the two channels that are defined here, inspiration and structuring, they are also gates that are tied to their earth expression and also their Chiron. This is a lot of their energy is going to be about making their voice, not making their voice heard, but allowing their voice to be heard, and contributing when the time is right and when they're asked, and knowing, when to respond to that, and to learn to trust that they have a unique expression, and to just kind of like live without self-judgment and not hold back when they're, wanting to express themselves. Because again, like we said, it may feel weird and it may feel really uncomfortable, because it is a lot of times uncomfortable for the creative types to really express themselves. I mean, some people do it great. I mean, honestly, people with the 1-8 could be that, person that lives as an artist and everybody sees them that way, because it's a consistent energy in them that this person in particular would definitely be aware of. But also to know that voice is... it's mutative. It has a purpose and impact. It's meant to help change the way people think.
Yeah.
So, let's see. So the challenge there with that 23 with the Chiron is going to be just waiting for the right time. Timing is going to be very important.
Mm-hmm.
So expressing yourself authentically, but at the right time.
Yeah, I think this person, he does that pretty well. And for being such a big star, he kind of won't hide things that I feel like maybe other stars would hide. Like, for example, he's a very big, like, computer gamer. So, and like, it's a known thing about him. And he's not afraid to express that. He talks about his favorite video games. And he spent over quarantine, he got into painting little figurines from a video game series that he likes. And so I feel like some other stars wouldn't want that as publicly known because it's kind of a nerdy thing, but like,
well, especially he's 40, so it's
yeah.
like, maybe if he was like more millennial or Gen Z, he'd be more comfortable.
Yeah.
But a 40-year-old's pushing it like, I have a certain persona to protect, but yeah, you're right.
He does seem to be very authentic about who he is and what he likes and his creativity with that.
Well, that's great because he's a projector. He should be definitely following what it is that interests him for just the reason of interesting him because, no matter what this person does in life or like for a job, career, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Their gift is, who they actually are. I mean, all of us are that way, but, for projectors, it's really important for them to be valued for, their unique contribution because that's how they find the people that they're here to help guide. So, okay. All right. So that's the Chiron challenge. It sounds like they're doing pretty good with that. So the Saturn then, so you can start to see there is already starting this, pattern of this is someone who's, influential, let's say, for sure. Okay. And then, so Saturn is the teacher, disciplinarian, they call it, but it's really, Saturn is where you have to push through to grow. And that's why they call it the disciplinarian. Yes. And so there are Saturn cycles in a person's life. The first Saturn return into your 20s, second Saturn return is at the end of your 50s. So this person has already passed their first Saturn return. And it's generally if it brings you a theme that you're going to also learn through it. A lot of people give Saturn a bad rap because they think, oh, it just makes my life hell. It's so difficult. It wants to kick my ass all the time, right? But we always talk about real growth comes through some sort of struggle. I mean, the chart even shows us that in order to grow, the chicken has to peck its way out of the shell and the seed has to get its out of the dirt and flourish. So there is going to be some amount of struggle. And that's what the Saturn energy here is for. And then they say if you quote unquote master the lessons of Saturn, then the gifts are what Jupiter, it brings you its gifts through Jupiter's placement. So for this person, what am I looking at? Okay, so their conscious Saturn placement is in gate 50 and their unconscious placement is in gate 28.
50 and 28. Okay, yeah. Both spleen gates.
Yes, correct. So gate 50 in the conscious, I forgot. It's it's called the cauldron. And it's all about values of the tribe. If you see where it's at, it's the 50 reaches over towards the sacral. Okay, which this person does not have defined, so they just have gate 50. So the 50 is the values of the tribe. If you look at where they are in the chart, okay, it reaches over to the sacral, and then on the other side there's the 59-6, which connects the sacral to the solar plexus. And this is part of tribal circuitry, but it's also its own little small subcircuit called the defense circuit. Okay. And so the 59-6 they always associate with bonding, mating, children, having children. It's knowing who to connect with in order for the survival of the, the species, basically. It's but it's all about intimacy, and it's more of that. I see it as more the father side of the energy because it's more yang. And then on the other side, connecting to the spleen, if you think about the spleen is also the center of, instinct, intuition, but it's also your well-being. And so this is the energy, the 27 is nurturing, and then 50 is what I said, values. And so it's kind of that mothering energy. It's like, okay, the offspring are here and we have children. Now, what do we do to help protect, to feed, to make sure they thrive, all of those things. And so this person's Saturn placement being in the spleen center is really the challenge here to lesson to learn is going to be about, I think, about boundaries and learning about what they need in order to be nurtured and to be cared for. And because you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And there's a lot of probably wrestling with guilt here. Like I said, this is something you may not be able to tell by someone's public persona.
Right.
But sometimes you can see that in motivation, but so maybe overgiving, over caring, really acting out of guilt and doing things. There's going to be a lot of that proving, because also they have a wide open will center, having to feeling the need to always like prove themselves. And, so there's that theme there. And so let's see. If this person does, take on these challenges and learn, through their life experiences, then, the optimal expression of this gate is the ability to nurture themselves so that they can give more to others. They're also going to know what others need. Obviously, they're projector, but then there's a lot of this energy there as well. And then the unconscious Saturn in gate 28. Gate 28 is also known as gate. Okay, so I thought the whole channel was struggle, but 8 itself is known as the gate of struggle. It's called the preponderance of the great. Quantum Human Design calls it adventure and challenge, because again, we like to reframe this whole like struggle connotation and turn it into more of a positive,
Right.
Because a lot of times when people see this in the chart, they're like, "Oh no, I have struggle. I
just gotta struggle forever.
Just gonna fight and struggle." And some people who are not aware of it and aren't going in a more introspective direction probably do struggle a lot. I know people who do no self-interest and they have this channel, and it definitely struggles sometimes.
Yep. I think we know who that is.
I know we have no judgment. So, this is really about knowing what's worth it for you to take up the challenge, to take the risk. It's like this person is going to have somewhat of an adventurous side to them. And the 28-3, okay, it's about that. It's also in a line 3. So there's definitely going to be this trying things out and maybe just for the hell of it, risk taking, seeing what provokes any kind of interest in them to find out meaning and purpose and what makes life worth living. So the challenge here with it being in the Saturn placement, they're probably going to struggle, or not struggle, but just, they're going to be challenged by feeling defeated, if the challenge is not going their way. And so, or they might have to learn to still keep moving forward, even though there is going to be struggles and challenge in life, because, an unbalanced expression here would be to just stay frozen, not do anything out of fear that it's going to be too much, And so the more willing they are to kind of get in there and trust and know that their struggle is going to have value. And of course it's going to have value, because they're here to share their experiences and their struggles and their adventures and their challenges, because what narrative, their story, is here to help others feel that they could be safe as well. Yeah. How we doing?
Pretty good. I mean, some of these last couple ones have been harder to kind of place just because they are very much personal things that
Yeah.
can't
A lot of people
find
are
this
out there
person.
telling you all their deepest, darkest struggles.
No, they're not. No.
No.
This person's also pretty private.
Well, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense as well, too, because they're a 1-3. And 1-3s, as we know, are the most self-focused profile in the system because they're both lower trigram profile numbers. So they are
I'm
very...
married to one.
Yes, you are. I think I am, too. Sometimes I wonder. I'm really going to send off for that birth certificate one day because...
You really should.
Yeah. I mean, I really do feel your dad's a 1-3, but just the way he does things. Anyways, let's not talk about us. Okay. So let's move on to the moon. What motivates, what drives this person?
Moon. Yes.
The moon is what drives us. And a lot of times I tell people, if you have lost your drive or your motivation, to look at your moon placements to see what it is you need to have in place, what you have to be experiencing to help inspire you and, kind of activate that thing. So this person has gate 19 conscious and gate 43 unconscious as their moon placements. So
I read the
anytime
right icon.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. It looks like a moon.
No. God. Put me down. I was proud.
I am proud of you, Haley.
Thank you.
Super proud. God. Well, speaking of gate 19, which you also have, it's gate of sensitivity. Also referred to as the gate of wanting, gate of approach. It's attunement in quantum human design. But anytime I see 19 in chart, I know this is a sensitive individual. They probably have and for other placements I see also gate 15, they probably have a connection to animals and the natural world. Oh, is that a big one?
Yeah, that is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Something notable about them. Okay. And this sensitivity and where it's placed, it's in the root, goes to the solar plexus. And it's also about, it's tribal energy. So it's also about like contracts and agreements. It's being sensitive, knowing that who to, also along like who to bond with, who to create contacts with. They call it, that's one of the ones where the energy of like marriage is, but it's also people that have one or the whole channel more likely are people who see things very black and white. Like it is either, if usually it's a full channel. If someone breaks the agreement, then they're done. It's like, you are out of my life forever. There's no like going back once it's broken. But so these are very sensitive people. You also have gate 19. Don't ask me where, I don't remember. And so they can sense the needs of others. Now, also, this person is undefined emotionally. So that's going to also play into it. This person, like you said, you don't know them personally, but they may struggle a little bit with people pleasing in a little bit, because if they are sensitive to the needs of others, plus they have openness there in the solar plexus, I would say this might be one of those challenges in life of boundaries and learning, when to, give, got that 52, and when to create those boundaries. We'll see. So, yes, let me see. So, I'm just trying to think how to frame something. Okay. Hang on,
I have something that ties to that gate.
Okay, what?
So, let me... I don't know which habit it is, but... So, this person, he I think, is a big donor, possibly, but really involved with this conservation group, I guess, that is tied to a zoo that he went to a lot when he was growing up. So he's very tied to that and that connection. And then he also apparently has adopted a fruit bat because they were going extinct. I don't think he physically has the bat, but that was a little tidbit I read. It's like he's a bat father, and I was like, what?
I didn't even consider that he wouldn't have the bat. I'm like, of course he has the bat.
I don't know. It was vague on if he actually has the bat, but he's very big in animals. He has several dogs, and he's a big part.
Well, that's awesome. And so that would be, and also another thing for this person, it probably would help them a lot when they are feeling less inspired or whatever, less motivated to maybe get out in the natural world, see what it really is that drives them. Maybe it is being able to help the animals, in that way, or just being around them and, finding their motivation again through, connecting with the natural world could be there. And then they also have gate 43. 43 again is that other side of that channel there, the knowingness channel. It's having, the drive to share new ideas with people, their ability, and they probably are, because they do have that full channel there of being able to express themselves, of seeing things in different ways. Again, another theme of showing people possibilities, showing, that helps motivate them when they feel like they're sharing ideas and new ideas with others, and that are going to help expand people, not just for the sake of telling them, but it's like sharing new ideas to help them grow as well. Let's see. Move on to the Neptune placement in the chart. The Neptune is, oh yeah, well, you know where Neptune is in the chart? What's that symbol? Neptune, remember, is trident.
Oh, is that the second to last one?
Yeah, it's right above Pluto. And as is common in a lot of people's charts, both conscious and unconscious is in the same gate, because Pluto is, Neptune, very, 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 very slow moving. I think it's 92 years. Didn't we do this before? We were like,
we did when we
Uranus
talked about all the planets.
It's like 84 years to make a complete return to where it was from when you were born. And I think Pluto is 92, because I think, Neptune is 92.
Oh, so Neptune takes 165 Earth years to orbit the sun.
So what's Pluto then? It's even more.
Pluto 248.
Yeah, because a lot of times in charts you'll say nobody's had a Pluto return in modern times.
Nobody lives that long.
Nobody will. Yeah. Nobody will have a Neptune return. They might have, influence, and even at half, let's see, even if it was an opposition, meaning halfway, would still be like 80 some
74.
Years, right?
If I got the number right, 74.
I'm a real math genius.
I am not. I used a calculator.
So Neptune is known for, it's kind of that hidden veiled planet. It has like the gases all around it, right? And so it's
very
kind of
glassy
like,
looking.
Yeah, it's your galed. It's your veiled. It's like your spiritual job. It's how you connect to source. It's not always visible to you. It's, but it's how you connect to spirit and feel connected, where your spiritual gifts lie. This person's is in gate 10, which is in the G center as well. And that's all about love of the self-love. And it's about having the potential to empower others to accept and love themselves. So this is someone's spiritual gift. Like, this is an underlying thing that is present in them, and part of their purpose, again, teaching people, mirroring for them, showing, being an example, empowering them to be themselves and love themselves as exactly as they are. Another big part of this theme is that being yourself, no matter what.
Some pretty consistent themes in this person's chart.
Yeah. And knowing that, to see the love for yourself as the source for your true creative power, because, there's all those themes there in that G center about, the self. It's the center of identity, direction of the self, all that stuff. Okay. All right. So there's that theme there. And then I think the last thing we'll touch on in this little template, framework, whatever you want to call it, for life purposes, is the nodes, the north and south node placements. And this person, being 40 years of age, is right around the age where moving from the energies of the south node, which is what you were here earlier in life, themes that were present earlier in life, maybe even some say it's what you kind of came in with, knowing more about, which would be in gate 10 and 11. Well, 11 is conscious, 10 is unconscious. Again, we just talked about that gate 10, direction of the self, or not direction, love of the self.
Right.
Right. And then gate 11 is in the ajna, and it's the gate of ideas, being able to see possibilities, have lots of ideas. This is somebody that's always getting ideas, but the key is learning that not all ideas are for them. They don't have to implement and put into action every idea that they get. This was something that they were, learning in the earlier part of their life, but also they were probably seen as someone who was just full of ideas, very creative, and they're also good at, if they're aware that not all ideas are for them, they're usually somebody that helps give other people ideas, right? They might meet people like, I have an idea for you. It's like, I've had this idea, but, maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's for you.
Right.
So as they are maturing now, they're moving into that north node stage of life. North node on the conscious in gate 12, unconscious in gate 15. Now, gate 12 is also coming off the throat. And where did that go? Gate 12 is known, it's called Gate of Caution, but it's also known in quantum human design as the channel. And it's someone that's capable of saying things that can be transformative and unique and impact people. The caution comes in, the name of the caution comes in because it's a throat gate. This is a gate that works best when recognized, right? When it's been invited to speak. And so they also say this, because this one isn't connected, but that channel reaches to the solar plexus. It's in this individual circuitry. There can be some moodiness associated with it. And it's also about, when it's the complete channel, it's expressing, it has access to express, the emotions that are happening in the solar plexus. But it's very much a timing thing of speaking when you feel like you're in the mood, right? And a lot of times this voice, if they're forced to speak when they don't want to, it may not be heard. It doesn't really land well. It's not as effective as it could be if they are maybe taking the time to recognize when they feel like speaking and when they don't. Okay. Like that. Also, it's got to be the right time for people to hear it, because it's a powerful energy. And then gate 15 on the unconscious side is what I was talking about earlier. There's also that connection to the natural, or to animals in that channel there. But gate 15, in traditional human design, gate 15 is known as extremes. The other end of it, gate 5 in the sacral, is the gate of rhythm. So there's like rhythm and extremes. Gate 5 is usually associated with the natural rhythm of life and cycles and, consistency, where this gate 15, the gate of extremes, is more about having your own rhythm and having the ability to adjust and adapt your pace depending on what's around you. It's kind of associated sometimes with like a little bit of chaos in there, of like kind of all over the place. And so in that full channel, it shows us that nature life has rhythm and extremes. There's like things that are consistent, but then things happen. And usually these people are a little more adaptable when things happen, right? They can adjust to the timing to know what's needed, what's not needed. So in the more mature stage in life, this gate 15, they're also going to be learning about setting parameters around their own work and creativity, of when it feels right and when to rest. Okay. So
Okay.
kind of pair that with that gate 12. So maybe they went a little bit faster, harder, maybe a little bit more kind of all over the place in the earlier stages of life, even now. And maybe they might start settling down more to like understand that they can, still have the ideas. They still can do all the things, but they might not feel the need to have to do all the things and learn to work around when it feels right for them to be working.
I think that kind of ties in because I was also reading that, like, very recently in the past couple years, because this person stepped away from a show that they were the main character, and so now they're.
So this is an actor.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm not trying to give you anything extra, but they're now in partnership or I don't know, working with Amazon with Prime, and he's going to be able to bring forth this whole video game universe that he really like. This is probably his favorite one. He's now being able to have the opportunity to bring that to film and TV and that more visual media with it, opposed to just the video game.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So, doing something new, huh? Bringing people along. Okay, so really, if this were like a reading, I might give this person some, kind of things to look out for. Really, I think it's important to help them recognize those not self behaviors, like these hidden mistaken motivations, you might call them, or whatever. And usually when doing that, I'm looking at, of course, their openness. And there is kind of a hierarchy. I know we talked about this before, of what's going to be the most prominent not self behavior in this person. And that would be this completely open will center. When someone is undefined in the will center, hands down, this is going to be one of the most motivating, but also like not necessarily in a good way, of them feeling that just themselves is not enough. There's that proving energy there, of like, am I good enough? Do I have enough value? Proving your worth. It's doing too much to prove that you're good enough. It's giving too much to prove that you are good enough. It's all those things, which this person has some other themes there we talked about, of like making sure that you're setting those boundaries, not overcommitting, not, saying they can do things that necessarily they don't want to do or can't do, because also they're a projector. They're not here to do all the things. This is someone that is here to help guide others to do the things, which it sounds like with this deal with Amazon, he might be doing is like, you guys do the work. I had the ideas, and you guys run with it. And I'm going to relax a little bit because I need to. So, feeling like they have something to prove. Undefined emotional center, usually avoiding confrontation and truth, they say, is the not self-behavior there. Doing things like, like we said earlier, people pleasing, or maybe just avoiding confrontation altogether because it's highly uncomfortable. And they're a sensitive person to begin with. Honesty, they say, this open center here, will center, when it says avoiding, or not will center, open solar plexus, avoiding confrontation and truth, meaning not being truthful with themselves or with other people because you're afraid you're going to upset them, really. Projector, open sacral, knowing when enough is enough, going to be struggling with that, maybe pushing too hard, not taking enough rest, not nurturing, again, another,
This person has a great quote about this.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Yes. So he said, it was kind of in an interview where he's talking about video games, but he says, at home, I get to sit playing games for ridiculous amounts of hours and escape there because going outside has the opposite effect. And I was like, I feel that as a projector.
Yeah, probably every projector's like, yes, it's too many people out there,
It's too much.
They're messing with my inner calm. Cool. Yeah. So also open spleen, undefined spleen, holding on to things that aren't good for them, things or people that may not be good to them. Also, remember, gate 50 is also teaching them that lesson to take care of themselves. They've got an undefined root center, so amplified root center, probably again more taking on, the work to get it done, to get free of that pressure. Really have to look out for, this person really has to look out for burnout for sure, because there's going to be a lot of pressure to prove, to do that. And then the open head center, looking for inspiration, but also trying to answer everyone's questions and quite possibly give them answers and ideas. They're going to be tormented because they actually, undefined head center with the hanging gate 63 and the unconscious Mars energy placement. So that is someone who is going to be feeling like they need to have answers all the time, but they're not here to have answers. They're here to help give ideas, not answers. And let the generators help with the answers. So the only other thing I would say is probably some other motivations. Oh, there's a spider crawling across my desk. Okay, not the desk I'm at, the desk I'm next to. Go the other way. It's one of those little jumpy looking spiders, Oh, they're so twitchy. And their eyes go like...
They're little and freaky. Oh, I hate spiders.
They make me uncomfortable.
Do you see me over here?
I know. You're like 1,900 miles away.
It's making my skin crawl. Ugh.
Spiders, though, they eat the bugs too. So
I know.
I just tell them all to go somewhere else. I don't want to have to. You. Hey, you.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. I'm working here. So, even though this person has single definition, their centers all match up to me, I would think that they might be feeling some, it's not pressure, but feeling like it's another one of these motivations that might be tripping them up sometimes, is that if they have these two hanging gates coming off the G center going towards the sacral, right? And so that's the 2 and the 15. I would think it would be a very powerful draw to be hooking up with the other end of those energies, because then it would be getting that sacral energy all the way to the throat, and it would give them more energy to express themselves and what they know and all this other stuff. And so, they, as we said, that gate 2 without the 14 is looking for allies and resources, so they might always feel like they're not the one that can help bring this through. So they're always looking for, which, I hooked up with Amazon. They're helping bringing that through. And then that gate 5 is the other end of that gate 15, which is that more fixed rhythm. And so this person might not have a disciplined fixed rhythm, and they might lose focus because they kind of are more, they might feel like they're lacking discipline is what they feel like a lot of time, because they don't have the other end of that channel, if that makes sense. So,
yeah.
Is there anything else that I should bring up? No. I don't know. Are we ready to reveal? I have no guesses. Is not the person I was thinking of.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No, because when Haley first gave this to me, I looked at the age. He's from the UK, so I was like, well, he's not that old. I was trying to think of people around 40 years old from the UK. When she told me, she's like, oh, I have someone. I thought, oh, I might know who this person is.
You do.
So,
you do know who this person is. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to share a few other little fun tidbits
before
I learned before we reveal.
Okay.
Yes. So
okay, let's do it.
So we'll start here. So he's the 4th of 5 boys, which was very, that's a lot of children. Yeah, in a Roman Catholic family, it says. His mother was Scottish, English, and Irish, and his father was just English. He started...
Just English.
Just English. I mean, after all of that and then your mother, it is just English. But he started acting when he was kind of young. He did... he was in a school production of Grease. He was one of the keyboard.
I'm going to die if this is still the same person I think it is, because this is totally different. Okay, but go ahead.
Okay. And then he also, he played like rugby and field hockey in school. He also met Russell Crowe when he was 16, and basically just because Russell Crowe was filming Proof of Life. Do you know that? Proof of
Yes,
Life?
I know it's a movie.
So they were filming a scene at the boarding
Sorry,
school.
I'm obsessed with
I know.
spider
Do you need to
movie.
take care of the movie of the
I don't know what to do
spider?
with him. I don't want to kill him, but he's a jumpy spider, so he's just going to jump.
You might just need to.
Bobbing and weaving to make sure he doesn't catch me.
You might just have to kill the spider.
No, I won't. I won't tell anybody I killed the spider. Okay, so Russell Crowe, Proof of
So
Life.
Russell Crowe, they were filming a scene at the boarding school that this guy was at. And he basically, this actor just walked up to Russell Crowe and said, "I'm thinking about becoming an actor. Do you have any advice?" And Russell Crowe was basically like, "It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Like, do it." And then Russell Crowe ended up sending him like a package a week later with like stuff from his, like candy from where he was from, because he was really homesick being out at boarding school. He also said that he would like, let me find it. He would like call his mom. Oh, he says by his own admission, bawled on the phone to his mom 4 times a day because he was so homesick. Let's see, what else did I learn about him? Oh, he was apparently really overweight when he was younger, and his classmates called him fat, and his last name, I don't want to give it away yet, but I was like, would never have thought that. Acting really helped him value himself. He says, because even the kids that would like kind of pick on him, when he would finish a play, they would come up to him and tell him like, "You're really good." And that's where he kind of like found that he could draw his strength from. Let's see.
Definitely.
Yeah. He had a lot of odd jobs before he really got big. He didn't really get any big acting acting roles until he was in his 20s. So he was a like a restaurant host for a while. And there was this sweet story that this one reporter had where she would walk by the restaurant all the time, walking her dog, and Henry he ended up walking the dog for her a few times, and like the dog always would give him like really loved to see him whenever he walked by.
Kate 19.
Yeah, and then but it was even sweeter is once he became this famous actor, she went to interview him on one of his movie premieres like years later, and she was in like the queue of reporters and everything. And he like recognized her immediately, asked her how her dog was, like, and then he like as she was leaving, he kind of just like looked down and says, "I miss Buddy," which was the dog's name. And she was like so touched that he remembered her dog and all of this through that. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else did I learn?
I think I know who it is now.
I know. I also gave out his name.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that kind of, I read this earlier, but then as we were talking about it, so he also says that he struggled with his American accent. And it just kind of clicked on me when we were talking, since he has that like defined throat. I was like, well, maybe would that contribute to it any, because it's such a defined energy for him.
Well, they do say that, I mean, you know, it's easier, I would think, if you had an undefined throat to change the tone to match, you know, who, you know, because they say energetically it helps you connect with people because your energy just kind of knows what to say to help connect with people. And yeah, if you have a defined throat, you kind of are known for your distinct way of expressing yourself, but it doesn't always have to be like tone. It could just be like how, you know, people hear you in a way. So
Yeah. And then one other thing that I thought was interesting is initially he wanted to study ancient history. Egyptology in particular. He's very fascinated by that. I found where it talked about him being a bat father.
yeah, what does it say?
Yeah. So it's like the title of this little section says animal advocate and bat father. And then like I said, he was the ambassador for this conservation trust. And then it says he adopted a baby fruit bat in 2015 and named him Ben.
Ben the Bat.
Yes. But so some of his most famous roles, he has been Superman.
Yep.
He has been Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
And he has been Geralt
The
of
Witcher.
Rivia.
Yes, he has, because he is the hottie Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, yes.
Henry Cavill. Well, look at you, Henry.
I know.
That is interesting. I would never suspect. I mean, especially his roles are like such active people. You would think
I know.
it's just so viral, but he's so.
But a lot of his roles also are like leaders and being like kind of true to themselves and stuff like that, which is also kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is definitely someone in his normal life would, as we said, has that leadership energy, of being authentic and true and following their own direction and helping others do the same. Oh, isn't that interesting? It's funny, because I would say that not even though, but, as a projector, a lot of times they get a bad rap of being people who, what do you say? Like,
don't work as hard.
No, not about the work at all. I'm saying maybe I'm just projecting. It's sometimes more difficult for them to understand themselves, see themselves, know what, recognize themselves and what their gifts are. But when I would look at this person, the way those three centers line up, so like right through the middle in that channel of like being individual. And
right.
I would say this is someone that has a good sense of themselves, especially, I mean, there's 8 gates in the G center and they have, 6 of them defined.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of knowing who you are.
Well, at least knowing who also knowing that who you're not.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Do you want to know who I thought it was going to be?
Yes. So you said that. So was Henry Cavill your original, like who you thought it was going to be, or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
Never even occurred. I could.
Oh.
I thought it was. How do I say his name? Cillian Murphy.
Yes, Cillian Murphy.
Just because.
Interesting.
I really like him. I know he's from the UK or somewhere. He's
like
Irish. He's Irish, isn't he?
Yes, I think he's Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy
Shelby.
Thomas Shelby from Peaky Blinders.
Yes.
I still haven't watched the final season of that.
Oh, it's good.
And I haven't watched the latest season of The Witcher either.
Oh, it's good because it's the last season with Henry Cavill as Geralt. Wow, Liam Hemsworth is.
Oh,
next season.
Liam Hemsworth's taking over.
Yeah.
Are they just going to make him the Witcher?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so now it makes sense, all the video game stuff and him playing the Witcher. Because
let's see
that
if
was
I
a
can
video
find...
game.
I don't know if I still have the tab open, but one thing more on his authenticity of stuff is when he was talking about going for The Witcher, I'm not sure if it was before he auditioned or before he started filming for it, but maybe either way, he played a lot of The Witcher game. It's based on a book. People don't know. It's a series. But he played a lot of The Witcher because he wanted to try to be as authentic to the portrayal of the character as he could. Because he said as a fan, it was really important to him to portray it as authentically as possible. And Ian, I think Ian's played the game. Presley's played the game. The noise in the game that the character makes, the like, Henry Cavill does it so perfectly, and it matches it so perfectly, and it is so true to it.
That's what Ian said. Yeah, it was very much
like
grunt he makes.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's awesome. That was fun. So, do you feel like you know him a little bit better? Was it matching up in your head with what you were hearing, what you'd read so far about him and everything?
For sure. I mean, a lot of, like, specifically the authenticity of who he is and just trying to, like, be himself. I think that
So,
really fits.
if he were to come to me, I'd say, listen, Henry, let's just make sure we're establishing those boundaries, taking care of yourself. Go ahead, play that video game. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You're not lazy. You're cool. You're doing it. You need that time alone. You need to. Well, it's also, you said he had to try it out. He's a 1-3. He had to really study it, learn it, try it, all the different ways to be the character that would make him a really good, in a way, actor. That 1-3 of being able to really go deep in the process of understanding the character and trying out different ways to portray him. I never saw Superman because I don't like Superman. I really like Henry Cavill, but I really don't like Superman. I can't do it. I haven't watched Wonder Woman.
I don't really like any of the DC comics. They're just, I feel like they're too serious and just, ugh.
Well, that was fun. Okay.
Oh, and then one other thing I just thought of, talking about the sensitivity of Henry Cavill. He doesn't like to read nonfiction books. He's like, because I don't want to be, he said basically, it resonates too much, the deep struggles of it resonates too much with him, and he doesn't want to be broken in that way. But he likes to read historical fiction and fiction, because he likes, he can be broken in that way and put back together. But it's the nonfiction is just too real. He feels it too much.
Well, yeah, I guess that could be definitely true with that open head and also that open solar plexus. But at least he's doing good on taking care of his well-being by not. I mean, that's kind of how I don't have an open solar plexus or spleen, but that's how I feel about the, like I said, certain movies. I just decided I don't really want to watch particularly maliciously violent things, because I feel like it just doesn't feel good, or it makes me really, or I even think about certain things now that I'm going to watch. I'm trying to, like you said, hold my own emotional frequency a lot of times and focusing on what feels better. But, with that emotional wave, sometimes I just it helps me get some of the emotions out too, to watch something really sad. I mean, to me, that could be cathartic. But then,
a good cry.
I'm emotionally defined, so I'm more comfortable with the emotions. So, well, fine. So why don't we wrap it up then with the Incarnation cross of the week being his cross, which you said we've already done the Sphinx cross, but so it's not so bad.
But it's still a different iteration.
Yeah. So this is the right angle cross of the Sphinx too, and so this is what it would say. I'm gonna say you, Henry.
If you're
talking
listening.
to you, Henry. Oh my God, what if Henry found us? Oh.
I would die.
We love animals too. Even the stupid spider I refuse to kill that's on my desk over there. Okay.
Do you still have eyes on it?
If you have this cross, you are here to show people that there are many different ways to see the world and to be open to the possibilities. You help them by encouraging them to use their energy to create beauty and to make the world a more beautiful place. You serve as a living example, demonstrating how to live a truly genuine life and showing others how to do the same. You teach them to believe in themselves and take control of their own story so they can be open to all the good things the universe has for them. Your own life experiences become a roadmap, illuminating the way for others to follow towards their own self-discovery and transformation.
Yeah.
We are complete. Well, that was fun. So if you guys enjoyed that and you'd like to hear more of those, or even, like I said, I keep playing around with ideas of how to do more with Bodygraph on the podcast, whether it's, listeners having a chance now and then to maybe come on as their own little experiment, see how it goes, or I don't know, playing around with ideas. But if you like this and he's on my It's on my lamp now. The spider's on my lamp. If you like this, you want to see more, you have ideas, let us know, and I'll get you in contact with Haley. But
I think that was fun.
Yeah, but for now, we're just going to leave that there and be back the next time with something else to talk about. What are you going to say? Were you going to say something?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say we should probably wrap it up. Get rid of that. Get away from that spider.
He went further away. Anyways. All right. Well, you have a great evening, Haley. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.